that position. Just go, take your time with it. Back over to the right. Let's go one more to the left and one more to the right. Then head back to the center. We're going to take our hands to our collarbones and just pull down that skin just a little bit and then look up gently. And we're going to take a couple of breaths in this position. Then release the hands. We're going to take the chin down one more time. Go ahead and take your hand to your head and just gently give yourself a tig. And then gently just turn your head side to side in this position. And then we're going to relax. We're going to go into our extensions, so our arm extension. So we're going to lift the arm up to where it stops, and then we're going to extend the back. Then coming back, we're going to do 10 on each side. Arm comes back, and then we extend. We want to pull the arm back first to its end range and then come back from there. We have 5 more. One more. We'll do the same thing on the other side, extending the arm back and then reaching. Five more. Two more. Actually, I think that was an extra one, but whatever. All right, we're going to bring both hands up in the air. We're going to inhale and exhale into forward fold. I don't know how far I'll get because I am super sore from snowboarding. Good. Inhale, exhale, swan dive up. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half or swan dive up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, swan dive up. Exhale, forward fold. You want to just leave yourself here for a moment. Go ahead and grab your elbows. We're going to go just into ragdoll. Just kind of rock back and forth. We're going to take your hands down to the floor. Let's take the left leg back into our runner's lunge. We're going to drop the left knee into a half kneeling position. We're going to extend the arms up and leaning forward and then back. I want you to try to lift from the ribs as you lift the arms up. Slight separation from the ribs and the hips. Let's do about 2 more. Last one. Then staying in that half kneeling position, we're going to work on some rotations. We're going to rotate over the bent knee. So inhaling and then exhaling. I'm trying to take that shoulder back first, and then back to my neutral position. Then I'm going to turn the other way and not letting this leg collapse in. So I'm really trying to reach around. You might feel a pull in the front of that hip. Back to center. Other side. Feel like your ribs are moving with your shoulders. And then on the open leg of the left leg, back to rotation. And then hands back on the floor. We're going to take the right leg back. We're going to push back into our downward facing dog. Oh, my hands keep slipping on this thing. See, this works. Let's go ahead and come back down to the knee. We're going to take our right leg up front into that half kneeling position. Same thing, we're going to work on that overhead. Leaning forward. I'm lifting my arms up as I lean forward. Just open up those ribs. Lifting. 2 more. And then last one. And then over the bent knee for rotations. We're rotating our body. You might feel a stretch in the front of the hip doing this. And then back over the open leg. Just make sure your knee doesn't collapse in. Keep that foot planted. Back over the bent knee. The front bent knee, I should say. Whoa. And then back over the kneeling knee. All right, hands to the floor. Go ahead and take that left leg back. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog. If you want, you can bend your knees to push more into the arms. Good. Come back down to kneeling. We're going to use this downward dog for our feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to curl the toes under. This is not so much about your downward dog, but it's just basically extending from the feet. So we're just going to push straight up. Try to push the feet down as much as we can, and then back into our kneeling position. So push the heels down as much as you can, and then back down on the knees. You should feel a stretch through the toes and then through the calves. Do it just a couple more. Last one. And then come back into your child's pose. Go ahead and open up those knees. We're pushing back. We're going to take the thumbs up and out to work on external rotation in our child's pose. So thumbs are up, then pull the thumbs out. Keep pulling those thumbs out. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself up just a little bit. Go ahead and take your left arm in the middle of your body. We're going to take that right hand, thumb up, pull it out, and then start giving yourself a thumbs down and try to rotate that thumb up towards the ceiling. And just pull back to your end point, and then you're just going to bend that elbow just a little bit up your back. We're going to drop the elbow down to the floor, and then we're just going to work on rotating upward and then back down. Try not to shift too much in your hips. We're just trying to move from the shoulder. You might not get very far. Take your head with you. Let's do two more. And then let's go ahead and unwind that arm back to its original position. And we'll go to the other side, same thing, thumb up. Start opening it up and then start rotating your thumb down and back up. Pulling the arm back. And then bend the elbow just a little bit and then drop that forearm down. And then just dropping the elbow. And then lifting as much as you can. Try not to shift the left hip out to the side too much. Let's do one more. Good, and then go ahead and unwind that arm. And then extend those arms out one more time. Pull the thumbs out into your child's pose. Pull the thumbs out as much as you can. Try not to bend the elbows. We're keeping the elbows straight. We're just trying to pull the thumbs out. All right, sitting back up, let's go ahead and extend the legs into our plank. We're going to go back into our downward facing dog, really pushing through the arms, the hands, pushing the head through, trying to look up at the belly. Good. And then go ahead and come down to your knees one more time. Push back. We're going to take these into some more rotations. So we're actually going to lay down on the ground on our backs. If you need anything for your head or your knees, go ahead and do that now. You just need like a pillow or a yoga block, which will be fine. I'm going to grab a yoga block. And then you just keep your, mostly if your head support, that's going to be the most comfortable, just so you're not like straining. Knees are at 90 degrees. I'm going to reach with my arm. We're going to go into just rotations. Davida, bring your knees up to you closer. Yeah, you want your knees like in line with your belly button. And I want you to think about reaching, so as your arm gets here, just everything kind of goes together. We just don't want to kind of flail the arm back and forth. We actually want to move from the chest and the ribs. When I'm back here, I like to take like one or two breaths, just to kind of let everything kind of sink down. I just want to also make sure that my hips are not going with me. So that's why I keep my hands here. And just do a few. I also like to pull that thumb outward. So if my thumb is kind of facing this way, I like to make sure my palm is facing up towards the ceiling and pulling that thumb back. That's just going to get my shoulder into a little bit more external rotation, a nice opener. if you're getting ready to start a day of desk sitting. We'll do a couple more. Good. Let's go ahead and roll over onto the back. Keep your pillow if you need it. We're just going to take, we're not going into rotations yet, we're just going to go into a trunk rotation. So arms out in a T, knees up at 90 degrees. If you want to stick something in between your legs, like a block, go ahead and do that, or a pillow. I'm going to rotate my knees over to the left. As I do that, I'm going to turn my right hand up towards the ceiling. And keeping both my shoulders on the floor, I'm going to rotate back up to my starting position and then rotate back over. I want to keep both my shoulders on the ground. Nice and slow and controlled. You want to feel like your abdomen is pulling you down. Let's do one more each way. Back over to the left. And then we'll come back to center. All right. And then we're going to go to the other side for rotations. I'll just turn around and face you guys. All right, so knees are about 90 degrees. If you want to get something between your legs to stack your hips so your hips are nice and even, you can do that. Or if this is okay for you, just go ahead and keep it here. Just really taking your time with these, just breathing. You're going to feel that one side is much looser than the other. My right side can almost reach the ground, which is kind of cool. Try not to have a death grip on your leg or your wherever you're grabbing. Try not to have a death grip. Relax those fingers. If you need to, you can take the hand to the ribs. Let's do about 2 more. Remember to take that thumb up towards the ceiling and then out. Give that external rotation. And then we're going to go onto our back for those hip crossovers or trunk stability rotation, whatever you want to call them. Hands out in a T. Adjust your position. And then I'm going to rotate over to my left. Let's do one more to the left and one more to the right. All right, and then go ahead and extend your legs down. And just give yourself a long, long stretch. Pretend you're like 6 feet tall. And then stretching. Okay. We're going to take this into hip extensions or glute bridges. So keeping the heels down on the floor, palms up towards the ceiling. If you want, use a pillow or a block to squeeze your legs. It'll help facilitate the glute bridge a little bit more. You can also think about pulling your heels together as you drive up. You're going to feel probably a little bit more in, if you're squeezing a block, you're going to feel a little bit more in the pelvic region and then in the glutes and then coming down. Make sure the belly button comes in first and then driving up. If you're tight in your hip flexors, you're probably going to feel a stretch here. We're going to do 10. Three more. Last one. Good. And then we're gonna roll back over to our side. And I don't know if a lot of you can get into this, but we're gonna try it. It's called a bretzel. Definitely want your head probably supported. So what I'm gonna do is my bottom leg, I'm gonna pull it behind me. I'm gonna see if I can grab it with my top arm. I'm gonna turn my hand up towards the ceiling and just see if I can just grab my foot. And then I'm gonna pull, and if I can grab my other leg, and I'm kind of like in this lock position. And then I just wanna see if I can pull this bottom leg back and then try to pull my shoulder open. So I'm trying to pull this shoulder open. You can just hang out here if you want. If just being in this position is okay for you, just hang out here. If you're able to bring your top leg up closer to your belly or your ribs, go ahead and do that. There you go. It's also a little bit easier if the leg is supported by like a foam roller because it's stacked, but if you're okay here, good, good job. Davida, get it more like under your calf. There you go. So it's a little more like supported. So this is a bretzel. We're trying to pull our shoulder down to the floor and also stretching the bottom leg quad by pulling back into like that hurdler stretch. Try not to tense your shoulders. No death grip on the legs. If you need to take a hand away, take it away. Let's go ahead and release that leg, and then we'll do it on the other side. Make sure you have your head supported. And then I'm gonna pull that bottom leg back first. Try to pull it back as much as I can. And then palm is up, and I'm gonna reach towards my foot, and then try to pull that leg back while keeping the front leg locked in. This is a tough one. I thought I'd give it a go. Good. And then we just want to breathe, and while we're breathing and exhaling, we're trying to pull the shoulder to the floor. Good. Go ahead and release your back leg, and go ahead and roll onto your belly. We're going to take this into one more stretch. If you are not able to do this, and we can do another one. We'll do it standing. We're going to try a hurdler stretch laying down. So I'm going to pull my right leg towards me, and same thing. I'm going to reach behind me and grab it, and then I'm going to try to pull my heel down. And then what I want to do is I want to try to flex. I'm flexing my hips towards the floor, so it lifts my knee up just a little bit. And you just hold this for a few breaths. You can also do this so squeeze your butt and push your hip down into the floor, and you should feel your quad flex, and then pull that foot towards your butt. Go ahead and relax, unwind that one. We're gonna go to the other side, same thing. I'm gonna squeeze my butt and push my hip down to the floor, and then pull my heel towards my butt. And then go ahead and release that guy. Go ahead and sit up, push back into your child's pose. Reach the arms away, tuck the chin. And then coming back up. We're going to take this into another half kneeling stretch because I really just want to focus on those hip flexors again. We're going to pull the hip up towards, so tuck your butt, pull it up, belly in, and lots of tension. I want you to push your knee down into the mat like you're going to drag your mat across the room, and then slowly lean forward. Find that sticking point, and then lean your body back in one position. You should feel a pretty intense stretch to the quad. Just make sure you're not doing like the broken hip and then trying to push back. So everything's nice and tight, and then I'm pushing everything back, pushing my knee down into the floor. Just keep squeezing my butt. And then relax. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna tuck that pelvis under, belly button in. I'm gonna drive my knee down into the mat and then lean forward. You can curl the back toe if you want. And then keeping all that tension, I'm gonna start leaning my body back. Keep squeezing your butt. Your butt is a hip extender. This is why we want strong glutes. Good, and then relax. We're gonna go ahead and stand up and then take that into another hip stretch. So just a standing hurdler stretch. If you need a point of contact, use a chair or a foam roller. We're gonna grab that left leg. When we get into this stretch, try not to pull out this way. You really wanna be in nice and tight as we can get. And then pulling down. It's just like we were kneeling. I'm pulling my pelvis up and everything's nice and tight. I'm one straight line. And then I'm going to start pulling this back without getting into this. So nice and tight. Think about pushing your knee down and then pushing your foot into your hand. You should feel a pretty intense stretch. Or you can do what Kent's doing. He's on the couch. He's got his knee bent. Keep pushing the knee down. Keep pushing the foot into your hand. This is basically what we did on the floor. On our bellies, we're just standing. And then go ahead and release that, shake it out for a second. And then we're gonna go to the other side. Find your balance in that foot. Use something to hold on to if you need to, even just your fingers touching something. And then pull it down, belly's in nice and tight. Push the knee down, push the foot into the hand. If you want, you can open up the shoulders, pull the shoulders down and back. Might give you a little bit extra room in the arm. Good. And then relax that leg. Go ahead and widen out those legs. And we're going to take this into our lateral lunge, into our instep lunge. So we're going to just lunge over to the left, drop the hands, and then push everything down. And then back over to the other side. Same thing, pushing down. Do about 2 more on each side. Good. Push into your lateral lunge first. And then come back to center and just go ahead and go into a forward fold in that lateral position. You can bring your legs in a little bit and point your toes out if it feels too much on your knees. You can use a block if you need to help you with the forward fold. This is what's great about the blocks. It's $3, doesn't cost much. Good, go ahead and bring those feet in. And then inhale, exhale into a standing position, and then shake it out. Nice job, guys.